Hello and welcome, bookworms. Welcome to this week's episode of The Content Narrative. We are looking at Small Angels by Lauren Owens. Sorry, not Owens. And my goodness, so this one hooked its claws in me. And honestly, you know, when you just sort of like you're reading it and you're like, wow, I can't put this down. Like, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. And it's just like, so you have Chloe, who's getting married in Small Angels Church. And Small Angels Church has been looked over by generations of people looking after the town because there is a spirit that is in the forest, in the woods, and Mock Beggar Woods it's called. And this spirit basically is like, anyone that's happy, nah, not on his watch. And so, but what's happened is the current incumbents who live there can't keep it up. So the Small Angels Church goes and becomes like a wedding venue. And so Chloe comes back with her fiance, who comes from this village, to live there. And as she unlocks the door to the church and starts gearing up for her big day, it's quite clear that something's gone horribly wrong. And she's awakened a spirit that clearly, poor Harry, has been asleep for generations. And it jumps between sort of like the present and the past. And you find out why Harry is as pissed as he is. And look, I get it to an extent. Like, what happened to Harry when you read it is horrible and it shouldn't happen. But he becomes vengeful and vindictive and destroys generation after generation after generation of people because of like one thing. Like, let it go, man. But what do I know? Do you know what I mean? It didn't happen to me. But I love that Mock Beggar Woods as well is like its own character. And I think this is what, because like when I went to Puzzlewood Forest last year, I thoroughly enjoyed it. 100%, guys, go to Puzzlewood Forest if you can. 100%. And I really enjoyed Puzzlewood Forest. But it felt like there was something else there. It felt like it had its own sort of like nature to it. It felt like it had its own like spell and its own breath and life. And I felt like that sometimes when I don't know if you guys do as well, like when you go into certain like places of nature and you're like, this feels like it could be alive. This feels like it's got its own sort of like spirit, its own characteristics. And that's why I really liked that Mock Beggar Woods in this book was sort of like had that, where it's like it's its own character, where it's like it's pissed that you've trespassed, or it's annoyed that you've done this, or you know, it likes you, so it's gonna let you find the way out. And it's stuff like that I'm like, okay, that's so cool. The characters was really good. The sort of like the small building up to the eventual finale was really good. And like it was sort of like a ghost story at the same time as like a horror and a thriller, and it's sort of like all three wrapped in one. And it was honestly, it's one of those books that, like, you know how sometimes you read a book and then a couple of weeks later, because you're reading another one, you know, you remember the vagueness of the book, but you know, you really remember vibes. And then there's other ones where like you find yourself, even like months, years later, you find yourself sat there and just sort of like remembering like vividly parts of the story. And that's what this one has been doing to me, is like every now and then I'll be sat there and I'll be like, oh my God. And I just remember like Harry in the woods, or like, you know, Chloe in the woods. And I'm just sat there going, oh, this is so cool. It's one of those that I think is going to stick with you guys for a very long time. And what I love is like, Chloe, our main lass, wants this perfect wedding, and then she's just at the end, she's like, look, I just, you know, whatever will be at this point, because, you know, this poor woman, she goes through some hell, I tell you. But I would definitely recommend this book. I think the way that it concluded, the way that we deal with Harry as well, you know, what happens to the main characters, why Harry is the way he is, how Mock Beggar becomes the way that Mock Beggar becomes, like what traditions get built up, which ones should be kept, which ones should be left, things like that. I'm sat there going, this is really good, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So I would say give this book a go. Paperback, hardback, Kindle, library, audiobook, however you wish to do it. Just let me know below in the comments if it is something that you like. And also let me know below in the comments if I am going crazy, or if you do sometimes feel like a presence when you're in the woods, or when you're out in nature, or out in the middle of the sea or something. You feel like, you know, like a sense of calm, or a sense of like that you're not alone. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not a spiritual, like, I'm not going to go with like sort of spiritually or anything like that. I just think I sometimes feel that. Anyway, thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you so much for the views. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for sharing these videos, you know, giving these books a go, because, you know, people write these books for people to read. And I really think that there's a genre or a book, or there's something out there for everyone. But I digress. Thank you so much, guys. And remember to always keep it contento.